Welcome back, Vril people, to episode 3 of Maria Orsic's ritual. Hail, Mother. Hail, the Missouri River Goddess. Hail, the one and only, the beautiful, the dancer, the shaman, the magic mama. We love you, Maria. This is for you. In episode 2, I left off in my story. In second grade, explaining in the principal's office to the principal and counselor that Mrs. Grinnell had a smoke man enter her, and his smoke arms were around hers as she choked Patrick. And I, as a little boy, learned to never, ever talk about the UFO. That's what the vibrational atmosphere of this world taught me, was not to talk about what was real in my experience, but was not real in their experience. I learned to shut the fuck up. So the boy began to forget until her promise to return was fulfilled. And I have to give it to her in the most creative, ironic way. But isn't that what makes life worth living? That when all is lost, out of the blue comes hope. So, I was now 21 years old. And me and my best friend from first grade, Scott, and another friend, Tim, journeyed to Kansas City to see the very first Lollapalooza concert. And significantly, we took some magic mushrooms early in the day and had a nice time. And it all began with Susie and the Banshees on stage. And all of a sudden, a girl beside me, who I first noticed, started pointing up in the air and saying, "What is that?" And we all took notice that not too far away, in a cloud, was a UFO, glowing with white lights on and multicolored lights going around the bottom. Actually, not going around, but on. They went around the whole ship, but they were on, not going around. And we all pointed. We all said, "What is that?" And then it was gone. And then Jane's Addiction came on stage. And about 20 minutes before the whole thing would end, the UFO appeared again above the stage, behind it, maybe a couple 100 yards away, 1,000 feet away, maybe. Not that far. And the crowd got more excited, and so did we. And I have to say, I had suppressed my memories of the UFO as a child. I never did connect the two experiences until 20 years after that. Which you'll have to follow me on a little journey before we get to that memory. So we all tapped each other and said, "Oh my God, what is that? Look at that. Can you believe that? Is that real?" And as I would say 5 minutes before the concert ended, it just was gone. I looked back and it was gone. So we walk out to the parking lot, and as we're walking, a kid yells, "Oh my God, there it is." And there it was, hovering above us, closer, much closer, maybe 100 yards away or 50 yards away. It was not that high or far away. And it just hovered there. And static electricity filled the atmosphere. People started screaming, "Beam me up, take me with you. We love you." Me and my friends just stood there, amazed. I looked at Scotty, and he mouthed with his mouth, "Beam me up, Scotty." And the vehicle brought a feeling, an atmosphere of excitement. What I remember is just absolutely feeling great and just marveling at how is it floating? What is that? And now, so clearly, I know it was the same UFO, and that was her way of coming back and revisiting me. The UFO in the parking lot floated above us, and then the static electricity smell just increased in potency. And then the craft, just like 14 years previously, moved as if it was going to leave, and then just pop, it disappeared, and just so much static electricity filled the air. Everyone's hair was standing straight up, and everyone was laughing, and just a beautiful, warm feeling filled the summer. And that was the return of Maria. And many, many years passed, and I will now begin to tell you my personal journey and the truths that I found about our world, myself, Mother Maria, and this is how it began. I was raised a Christian. My mother was a believer, but not a studier. She did not study it. She did not talk about it, but she did bring me to church once a week and did want me very much to believe that Jesus died on the cross for my sins, because she thought there was a technicality that would send me to a burning lake of fire forever if I didn't say I believed that, even if I didn't understand it, even if she didn't understand it. So I did not grow up in a spiritual atmosphere. No, nothing spiritual was ever spoken of in my house. Sports were at the center of our lives. I played baseball and football for 1 year, but I played baseball from T-ball till high school, and my stepfather helped me a lot with sports. But no, nothing was really talked about as far as spiritual things. And when I was about 6 years old, my mother sent me to a non-denominational Christian Bible camp. And these are basically Baptists who don't call themselves Baptist anymore. Like, they call themselves Bible-believing Christians. And they brought us out to a campfire and told us that if we didn't admit we had did something wrong in our lives and ask Jesus into our hearts, we would burn in a eternal lake of fire, like this bonfire. And from what I remember, every single kid there, quote, accepted, unquote, Jesus into their heart. And my mother took this as an official conversion, and that her son was never going to go to hell. And anyone who knows anything about critical thinking will just recognize how absurdly irrational that is. But I believe I know that this is a common experience for white American kids. And her intentions were good, let me say. As I grew older, I of course, that experience did not have any lasting effect. And by the time I was a teenager, I was just fully consumed in the consumer TV culture. I would say the TV had the most influence on me, and music second, until in movies, including with the TV, until I heard the Sex Pistols, and I became a punk rocker, which has no spiritual notions whatsoever. It's as we all know, it's a do-it-yourself, question everything. At least that's the good things that I took from it. And I just did not think about God, Jesus, for a long time. And I began to get into good and bad drugs. And when I was like 20 or 19 or 20, no, 20, this was close to the end of this period, I had taken some kind of acid or something, and I was in a bar, and I was walking up these stairs, and each stair I would touch, I heard a voice say 666 666 666, which I knew from being a kid was the mark of the beast. And I had some small revelation in that bar that night of, who am I? And is evil real? Is the devil real? Did some evil being just speak to me? I was clueless. And my next touch with spirituality was when I met a mushroom dealer. And he was the first person who introduced me that mushrooms could be used for magic. And that was the first time I heard that word used. And he spoke of Aleister Crowley, and I remember his Aleister Crowley books were sitting on the table. And he introduced an idea. He was the very first person who introduced this idea to me. He said, if you take enough of these mushrooms, a spiral will come from the sky, from another dimension, and open your third eye, which will open magic to you. And I had no idea what he was talking about. I didn't really pay attention. But me and my best friend, Scott, we both experienced this in a big way. I accidentally took 10 grams of mushrooms or so and completely left my body. Thought I had died. I thought you could overdose on magic mushrooms at that time. And I had a profound, what at that time was a profound spiritual experience. And I will just tell you a little glimpse of it. After drinking this many mushrooms on accident, I thought I was taking 3 grams. It is actually 3 times that. And I crawled to the bathroom because the world was shaking and spinning. And truly afraid in my heart that I was going to die, and that all of us were going to die that had drank that mushroom potion. And I barely made it to the bathroom, and when I vomited, every last molecule to do with the vomit was glistening, gleaming diamonds in the toilet. I actually went to grab them and stopped, and my rational mind said, they're not diamonds in this world, or something to that effect. But I recognized it, and I stood there just marveling at the vomit in the toilet. How beautiful it was. Just a pile of diamonds. A foot-high pile of diamonds just glistening. And my mind kicked in. I said, no, I have to flush this. And, I think anyone can metaphorically attach a meaning to that getting that out of me was worth more than anything in this world. Getting that dormant energy, that horrible, stagnant, what's the word? Latent energy, to get it out and activate my soul. That is what was happening. And a voice who I would say was my true self so clearly spoke to me and said, stand up and look in the mirror. And as a kid taking psychedelics, people always joke, don't look in the mirror at yourself. You'll scare yourself and shit like that. Well, I stood up and looked in the mirror. And what I seen in the mirror was a black African shaman with paint on his face and a headdress, looking very angry at me. And a Native American Indian medicine man, shaman, with feather headdress, war paint, and looking very angry at me. And no me in the mirror. I was not in the mirror. And I just jumped in fright when I seen them. This was my first experience with spirits. And the rest of the night, day into the night, I spent, or most of it, out of my body. I thought that I had died. And I thought that I had I thought that I went to where you went when you died. And I will tell you more specifically everything that happened that day. But I'm just giving you an overview of my spiritual journey and how I came to realize that the UFO that came to my house and came to Lollapalooza was Maria. So after that experience that day, I basically gave up drugs, psychedelic plants, everything, and I only smoked marijuana. I even basically quit drinking at that time. And I just dove into the closest spiritual system around me. And since I was a punk rocker, the spirituality of punk rock, like especially the 70s punk rock, the Clash, was such an influence on me. The Stiff Little Fingers, these punk groups played reggae. And so as a true punk, you naturally, checked it out. And the whole 10-gram mushroom trip left me wanting to be spiritual and understand spiritual things and understand what had just happened to me, even though I was at the time very dismissive of it all, that it was just a trip and our minds are wild and can come up with wild things. I had no one around me who could interpret anything that had happened that night. And I went through a heavy Rastafarian phase and a supernatural exit out of Rasta, an encounter with a DEA informant, cult leader type, mafia type, dreadlocked Rastafarian. And that led me to full diving into Christianity. I went to a Christian Bible college. I got a degree in New Testament biblical counseling, and I was trying my best to be a Christian, to be filled with the Holy Spirit, and there was a rise of supernatural things that were happening to me, which I will explain later in more detail. And I had truly believed I was on the right path when my wife had bought me for my birthday D.H. Lawrence's book that is a commentary on the book of Revelation. And the first couple chapters, he explains the book of Revelation is a shoddy, plagiarized, piece of ancient pagan literature that had come from the psychedelic mushroom fertility cults that go back tens of thousands of years, if not to the beginning of man. And that clicked in my head, and I understood the Bible is not the Word of God. It is not supernaturally preserved by God. And the whole Christian myth began to unravel. And from there, I understood there's no actual evidence of this Jewish Jesus to have lived. And the more I studied, I seen that the New Testament was also a plagiarized version of an ancient pagan myth of Odin, who hung on the tree for 9 days and nights to acquire something, which was the knowledge of the runes, so that he could live beyond the physical death, so that he would never lose his wife, Frigg, and they could live together in that is the definition of true love. Odin died on the cross, essentially, for the knowledge to live beyond death with his wife, because he loved her so much. Well, that myth was turned into the bride is you, the world, and the groom is Jesus, and he's not dying to live with you, but dying because you're a awful, evil sinner. the entire thing unraveled, and I understood I am not a sinner, that there are different kinds of people, and their hearts are all different. Some people are truly good. Their intentions are never bad. And at the other extreme, some people are very evil and their intentions are never good. Most everyone is in between. And one day, I had all through my Rasta and Christian journey, I was always in the background studying history and wondering things, but it increased when the internet got big, and I ended up a Graham Hancock fan, and after being after reading Christian literature for so long, I went to the store and got a new book, or fairly new at that time, by Graham Hancock, called Supernatural Conversations with Ancient Spiritual Elders, or something like that. Ancient Spiritual Shamans, or... Well, anyway, and that book introduced me to Terrence McKenna and his kind of punk rock shamanism of you can be your own shaman. All you need is 5 grams of mushrooms, the courage to do it in a dark room alone. Go inside yourself, and he said you'll find what you're looking for. And I thought, I'll try it. I have nothing to lose. I look back at in admiration of myself that I really was fearless at that time. And everything was unraveling. There's like the God deception, there's the family deception, there's the country deception. Like, all these deep spiritual things have been counterfeited and deliberately fucked with to deceive you. And it took a little while, but a very kind woman got me the mushrooms, and I had a few experiences leading up to the night of actually the eve of the night of my birthday, July 23rd, 2011. We had a mushroom party at our house, and while we were dancing and my eyes were closed, I seen a vision of a pentagram, and a woman's voice spoke to me and said, "What they told you harms you is what can help you." And through my training in Christianity, I knew that there were different spirits. So I said, "Who are you? You're not me. Who are you that just spoke to me?" And she said, "I'm the Missouri River Goddess, and I'm the reason you're here. I'm the reason you moved from Ferguson to Florissant and then even closer to the river, because now I live just a few hundred yards from the Missouri River. And she said, that star is the star of Venus. It's an ancient symbol that means something to your unconscious mind. She said, if you keep doing this and you do the 5-gram ritual, I promise I will be there to help you. I'm your guide. And after 38 years, that voice was familiar to me. And a couple months later, I would come face to face in another dimension with my real mother, my ancient ancestor, Maria Orsic. For that was her that night. And within a couple weeks, I would do as I was told, and I would do that 5-gram ritual in which I was taught how to do Maria Orsic's ritual. And my brothers and sisters of the Vril and the Vril Mother, we will pick up the story in the next episode. Hail to you, my friends. Hail to the greatest woman who ever lived, our mother, our Vril mother, the Queen of Vril, the savior of all races, the magic mama, the UFO queen. We love you, Maria. Thank you.